Hi guys, a very good evening to everyone who's joining us today. My name is Trishti and I am an associate of content at GeoSec, and I welcome all of you to today's session, which is Fresh from the Kitchens, wherein we will be talking to five of Ahmedabad's entrepreneurs who have made quite a name in the food and the beverage sector. I welcome you all to today's session. Um Without any further delay, I'd like to introduce you to the speakers of today's session. We have Preet Kadia from Urban Khichdi. We have Ms. Shweta Rao from I Love Sandwich House. Preet Sheth from Al Fresco. Parth Mehta from 9834 Fruit Truck, and Ms. Pankti Patel from Broadway Bakery. I would now request the speakers to please introduce themselves in two or three sentences. We may start from Pankti.
Hi guys, I'm Pankti Patel from Broadway Bakery. Baking was just not a profession for me. It was always my passion and a hobby. So that turned out to be my business now. Before 10 years, when I thought of becoming a pastry chef, it was very tough and it was not even a respectable job as well. But now, if I see down the line, everything is going so well, and Ahmedabadis are accepting bakers so nicely, and they are understanding like how it works and everything. So thank you so much, Ahmedabad, and that's how my Broadway bakery started.
Thank you, Pankti. Parth, would you like to go next?
Hi guys, my name is Parth and I represent 9834 the Fruit Truck. And we started back in 2016 with a fruit truck opposite Karnavati Club, and since 4 years we've been into different models in the fruit industry with cafe model, truck model, kiosk models in Ahmedabad and other cities of Gujarat. And yes, people love the fruits they eat, but people wanted to have something different, so that is how we started 9834. And being someone who wanted to do hatke in life, so I came up with this idea of doing fruit on wheels. So this is how 9834 started, and this is the brief story about it.
Thank you, Parth. Preet Sheth, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, I'm Preet and Al Fresco Food began in 2012. We started with a fruit bar concept, then we expanded to multi-cuisine cafe, then we also expanded into frozen food and catering, and right now we have a new model named Varak Artisan Sweets. So the passion brings the food, as the passion which I had for food and the love for the experiment and adding the tadka in the food was the passion for me. So I came in this industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Preet. Shweta, would you like to go next?
I basically moved to Ahmedabad in 2014, and I'm still a part of a couple of restaurants in Mumbai. Of course, I started as an investment banker. It took me towards food, so curating recipes was always for me. So after moving to Ahmedabad, I started with Bombay Street, a small little brand, and then
I'm sorry to interrupt.
further ahead, I started
We can't hear you
with
properly. You do something about the net.
takes you places. Can you? Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah. So basically, after Bombay Street, I stepped into I Love Sandwich House, and since then till now, I've been cooking at Sandwich House.
Thank you, Shweta. Preet, would you like to go next?
Thank you.
Sure. Hi, I'm Preet. Cooking for me was a fantasy while I was in my fourth grade. Becoming a chef was like a superhero for me. Slowly, that fantasy grew into passion. Passion grew into profession. Having worked with various chains like Oberoi Hotels, Marriott Hotels, and Intercontinental Hotel Group, we started Urban Khichdi. We'll be turning 2 years old in next 4 days, and in these 4 years, we've been able to reach 8 different destinations across Gujarat, and we plan to still further grow.
Thank you so much. Before we go ahead, I would like to say a couple of words about GeoSec. GeoSec is India's leading startup support system, and it's India's only incubator which provides startups with 0 day and zero cost support, which basically means that any person can come up with an idea and they can get incubated at GeoSec without on the first day itself and without any extra costs. In the span of 4 years, we have supported more than 2,200 startups, and we currently have more than 120 startups incubated with us. Our startups have cumulatively crossed more than 8 crores in revenues, and we have generated more than 600 jobs. We provide incubators with free co-working space, mentoring, access to the government's funds and grants, funding opportunities from investors, um, intellectual property filing support, and as well as IP awareness. We also provide access to laboratories and infrastructure of the Gujarat University ecosystem. In order to support innovators and entrepreneurs through the pandemic and to assist the government and people to cope up better with the COVID situation, GeoSec has also come up with the Breakthrough Accelerator that helps accelerate health-based startups. You can also log on to www.gusec.edu.in for more details. Without further ado, I would like to move to the questions. So let us just decide one format wherein we can follow. Okay, so we can start with Pankti. We can move next to Parth, then Preet Sheth, then Shweta, and then Preet Kadia. Is that okay? Actually, that's how you appear on my screen, so it's better for me that way. Okay, thank you. So my first question is, what inspired you to get in the food business in India, and was it the profitability aspect or the market size, or did you have some other motivation?
Your voice is clearly breaking. Can you just repeat the question?
Yes, of course. My question is, what inspired you to get in the food business, and was it the profitability aspect or the market size, or did you have some other motivation?
So, cooking was my always passion. It was my childhood love. And then I did my engineering, but during that time I started baking as well. So that time I realized that it is like a stress buster for me. I enjoy baking, all the process and everything. So after doing my engineering, I decided to definitely go for baking, and then I went to States and did my pastry arts course, and then came back here. Initially, it was not profitable, or like initially it was tough to find the ingredients and the clients and everything. But now, by the time after 5 years down the line, if I see, everything is much more easier. Every accessibility to the clients, except accessibility to the products, everything is much better now. So yeah, that's it.
Okay. My next question is to Parth. What do you think should be the first step someone should take if they want to get in the F&B business?
So the first thing that they should take, first step that they should take is get all the licenses done. The biggest setback that I faced. So I have a list of around 7 licenses that one should have before they start their own restaurant or a cafe or a food truck or anything, because that is the key to smooth running of a proper restaurant or a cafe, because that it was the main thing that I failed initially, which was not very smooth and which halted my graph that I had to go above. So I think the licenses are the key to start a restaurant or a cafe.
Okay. Would you like to add something to that?
Yeah. So, what exactly was it? Was when we started in Ahmedabad, the municipal corporation, they were very strict, and they are very strict now also with the health and hygiene factor as well. So, being a food truck owner, so I think that food trucks they always considered to be as a hawker thing, then they still consider, okay, this is a chalti filthy lorry thing and stuff. But the passion that we have in a food truck, that we bring in a food truck, is something different, and what we serve is something different. It's not a regular street joint. It's like a passion that we have added into it. So the things that we should worry about is how to get lined up with the municipality, with the cops, with different agencies, with your garbage, with your sanitation, hygiene, everything. So that is the first key factor that one should take care before they start their own setup.
Okay, thank you, Parth. My next question is to Preet. How did you secure the finance and recruit personnel and attract customers in the initial stages of your startup?
So basically, we started inviting our family, friends, calling them down, having a free meal for them, arranging a free meal so that they can taste. And the best publicity is mouth to mouth publicity. So we started with that publicity. So we get good business out of that. Then we started Instagram, Facebook. And you also know there are many platforms like Zomato, Swiggy, Food Panda, where we enrolled. From that we got a good business. We also got we also got our items done photography for the same, and eventually we started doing marketing in the Ahmedabad Mirror, Times of India, and got a good response out of that. And about the finance, we started with a basic working capital. We first planned to run a small food bar cafe, so we started with that. But we got very less response out of it. So we started a cafe. Then we went to shifted to multi cuisine cafe, and we got to know that catering is even better. So we shifted to catering then.
I just want to say at this juncture that if I ask a question and if any of you want to add something to that, please go ahead. Okay. My next question is to Shweta. Have you ever had one of those moments when you thought that, maybe this is not going to work out? And if you did, how did you keep going in that situation?
I never got that because, like I said, my studies was banking. I worked for banks for several years. I was an investment banker by profession. From there, that is when I thought that that was not made for me, and I moved here into food. But yes, when I started in Ahmedabad, there was this time when, when, since I came up with a new food category, like my conti food is like very different than the usual ones. Like 20% of the crowd knows this food, 80% of the crowd does not know this food. So it was exactly a year to Sandwich House, and sales were good, but the acceptance was not there of the product. So that is when I thought that probably I shouldn't have done Sandwich House here. But then slowly, steadily, since obviously the co-owner of this place is Chitrak, so Chitrak Shah Shivalik. So he motivated me time and again that Shweta, you should go ahead and things will get better. And we focus so much on marketing. We focused more on one-to-one, food selling and all of that, and sailed through.
Okay.
So
All right. My next question is to Preet. Um, what were the business or, for that matter, psychological hurdles that you faced during your journey? Preet, are you there? Preet, are you there? Uh, Mr. Kadia, are you there? There seems to be a problem with his network, maybe.
I guess I'm disconnected.
I think he's.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear the question, or would you want me to repeat it? Preet, are you there? Can
Can
you
you
listen to
specify Preet Chet or Preet Kadia? People are messaging me that she is asking, do revert, do revert.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay. So for the sake of convenience, let me just refer to you as Mr. Kadia, and I'll call the other Preet Mr. Shade. Is that okay?
Can do that.
Okay. Okay. So my question is to Mr. Kadia. I was asking, what were the business or, for that matter, psychological hurdles that you faced during your journey?
The biggest and the things that still that I'm scared of is the first question when I shared my thoughts with people that I want to do a khichdi restaurant. Everybody, including my closest, who would eat khichdi at a restaurant? Why would you have a restaurant which is specialized for khichdis? So from there, my fried brigade started, and slowly convincing myself, convincing others, slowly move towards the goal and establish the brand.
But did you like have any problems that, uh, for example, like
I'm
when you
sorry, I missed your question.
no, I was actually just continuing. I was saying that when you actually start with the startup, it's not really, it's not for everyone. So, did you ever feel like you you needed some extra support, or what really worked out for you?
Because see, I always felt that food. We divide people who are eating out. There are two types of people. One who want to eat out, and the others are who have to eat out. With the amount of growing population of urban youth in the city, with young corporates moving into the city, there are more and more number of people who have to eat out and not want to eat out. So then it had to be affordable, it had to be simple, it had to be healthy, it had to be something that doesn't
Preet, will lost you again. Mr. Kadia, are you there? Oh, okay. Moving on. I'll let him join again. Um, so my next question is, how does a small food business prepare itself for things, especially amidst the pandemic?
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, Mr. Kadia, you're audible.
Sorry, I missed your
My
last
question,
question.
yeah, next question was, how should a small business prepare itself for things amidst especially the pandemic?
I'm unable to hear you.
Are you guys able to hear me, or is it?
Uh, your voice is disconnecting, so I can't make out the entire sentence.
Can you guys hear me, or is it just Kadia?
We can hear you clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
I have some
From
internet
and
issues.
yes,
Okay, I can hear you now.
okay. My next question was to Pankti, or if you obviously if you need to add something, you may. The question was, how does a small food business prepare for things, especially in midst of the pandemic?
Again, you have to repeat your breaking.
My question is, how does a small food business prepare itself for things during the pandemic?
During this pandemic, you have to be like very careful. Hello.
Yes, please go on. Parth, would you like to answer that question?
Yep. So what happens is during this time, during the pandemic time, what happens is the main thing is the rent and the salary. So we have to take difficult decisions during this time because it has been 4 months now, and we don't know what is going to happen in the near future. So during this times, we have to take different business harsh decisions in businesses and see what will happen in the future and take smart decision. And currently with my business, I see that the decisions that I have to take is to minimize the losses and not to get profit out of it. So the basic thing that I have to look on is minimize losses. How can I minimize my losses? Because every month during this time is a loss till the time it gets better here in India itself first. So we have to wait and watch and see what happens, because sometimes when you take different decisions, for example, uh, if I start up with a, say, a kitchen model or a delivery kitchen model. So what can happen in that way is people would not want it to get delivered. They would want to get it handpicked by themselves. They would want to take a takeaway of the product. So it is a difficult times, and we have to take difficult business decisions and see what can happen in the near future, and just wait and watch. That is what I think, and shouldn't invest anything right now for anything new unless and until you are quite sure about your product or the services that you would want to start up in the market.
Okay. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
So I think an adaptable business is a key for the current situation. You have to adapt with the business that you have, and you have to see what is going around, and you have to see the current trends in the market. So, for example, right now people would want to uh, get their immunity boosted. People would want to be in shape. People would want to be eat healthy outside. So that is how you have to adapt. Like that is how you can adapt in the market. So that to give people a healthy product that they would want.
Okay. My next question is, COVID is seeing the rise of delivery startups. Do you think that that will affect the future of small or big food outlets? My question is to Mr. Shade. Anybody can
Yes.
answer.
Yes, I don't think so. This will affect the food industry at all, because from the first there are many home bakers and many homemade products have been sold in the market, and this is an open market for everyone, and this won't affect the people having a restaurant or a hotel. So yeah, I don't think so. This will affect anyone.
Okay. Um, uh, the next question is, for a food outlet in this post-COVID era, what shall be the key metrics for success? Shweta, would you like to answer that? She, I think there's a problem in her network. Mr. Kadia, would you like to answer that?
Sure. As the way we have been seeing for past since 8th of June, when we have been given permissions to start operating our restaurants, the biggest key right now, I would say, would be a lot of patience. Uh, you don't know when people will start coming back. Almost all restaurants are taking all measures which have been laid down by the government. Regular sanitization of premises, sanitation of crockery, cutlery, cookware, cooking, your knives, and everything is being done. But still, the fear is there, the fright is there. COVID is the new normal. As of now, it is here to stay. We have to adapt, living with it. We don't have to fear. We have to be careful. We have to take all necessary safety precautions. So as of now, succeeding for any outlet post COVID, I would say they would need a lot of patience. That would be the key ingredient today.
My next question is, how does a startup in the food and beverage industry deal with the price fluctuations of their raw materials? Pankti and Shweta seem to be unavailable. Parth, would you like to answer that?
Yeah. So the inventory is the key thing to any restaurant or a cafe currently, and managing the inventory is the hardest thing out of lot. And I think Preet is also in the similar line with fruits and other healthy stuff. And we have a lot of different inventories, and around there are 30-35 different varieties of fresh fruits. And if I see the current market, the fruits what they were used to, for example, if we take lychee. So lychee, the price was 1,000 rupees a box, that is 10 kgs. That was 100 rupees a kg, and currently it is around 160. It's just because of the transport. Because the transport, there is no transport system right now in currently in India, and like for example, for the fresh fruits to come from different parts of the country to Ahmedabad, they have to ship it via plane right now because all the local trains and everything are not working currently. So the 50-60 rupees hike per kg of any fruit is because of the freight charges that we have to pay for the fruits. So right now I see there is a lot of increase in the raw material cost, and during, like, if it was not COVID, at that time also there were different instances, different reasons why the fluctuations took place. So one has to be very, because we can't change our menu pricing. We have to stick with that, right? So we have to work around with our say profit percentage. We have to work out with our raw material cost. We have to work out with the wastage that we have in our kitchens. So all these things matter behind the kitchen, and we have to take utmost care for it, just to see that there is no inventory wastage which is happening inside the kitchen. So that is what I would like to say. I think Preet Kadia would be more. He would give us more insight about this.
Like rightly said, if I talk about our products, it is mainly grains. You know, you have different types of dals, different types of rice. We have huge quantity of ghee that goes into usage. So everything is very heavily based on transportation. Like in right now, the tomatoes price are sky high, and that is one key ingredient that you use for almost every tadka that you do. Like last year during October, November, you saw a sudden rise in onion prices. They were like, it crossed the 100 rupee mark. But as and when these things happen, we cannot go to our consumers and tell them we'll be charging you more because this has happened. So that is the times the margins are usually affected for a restaurant. Like even during this COVID lockdown, there were a lot of inventory that you had in your kitchens, which are now expired, which are now being thrown away. So a lot goes into making a restaurant successful.
Yes. Okay, I have two follow-up questions with Parth. First of all, are exotic fruits really that expensive? And if yes, how are you managing that? And
Okay.
I want to know the story behind the name of your startup, because I couldn't really understand it.
So I'll tell you more about exotic fruits. Is like exotic fruits are readily available in the market right now, and it's the only thing is Ahmedabad. They are the main fruit wholesalers, or the main fruit vendors who are not ordering them regularly, is just because of the transportation and the shelf life that they have. For example, a packet of blueberry, a punnet of blueberry, is currently around 250 rupees per 125 grams of pack, right? And if you know if you're not keeping it in a ambient temperature that it should have, it will go bad in say 3 or 4 days. So the price of the exotic fruits are high in Ahmedabad is just because of the low demand, and people, they don't want to and low demand, and also the wastage that it has. For example, during this COVID time, I started with dealing with avocados and mangosteens and rambutan, which are exotic fruits. Those exotic fruits were available in India. They were they were harvested in India itself. First I used to get it from Thailand. Now I am getting it from Kerala itself. But again, seeing the transportation cost, I am paying around 55 to 60 rupees a kg just to get it from Kerala to Ahmedabad. So all these things are very difficult for the exotic fruits to be there in Ahmedabad. And if in Bombay market, if you see, there are a lot of there's a lot of demand of exotic fruits, and people would want to have it. For example, currently there is Indian cherries are in season, but still people in Bombay, they would want to have Chilean cherries, South African cherries, which are 2,500, 3,000 rupees a kilogram. So they have a demand of exotic cherries in Bombay, but they don't have a demand of exotic cherries in India. So in Ahmedabad. So we have to play it smart, and people have to play it smart once they are working with exotic fruits. So that is the key for the exotic fruits. And your second question about the name. So it was my grandfather's first vehicle, a Bajaj scooter, which was named under, like, which was registered under the number 9834. And since then, all the vehicles in the family are having the same registration number. And so I thought of giving it a brand. And I thought, why not? It's 9834, and then whatever I do, it maybe someday, like a 2 year, 3 year down the line, I can have 9834 the Mexican kitchen or something like that. So maybe let's see. But yeah, it's just the legacy, family legacy that we are continuing with.
That's really nice to hear. At least I won't have to wonder about the name the next time I go to the place.
Yes.
Okay, just a request. If there are any internet drops in your connection, please just put your video off. Just turn off your video. Okay. So moving on. What are some techniques that may help you identify the needs and demands of the customer? Mr. Sheikh, would you like to answer that? Mr. Kadia, would you like to answer that?
Sure. The key factor there is you have to be in constant interaction with your consumers. You have to on and off casually meet them. You have to not just talk about how do you like the food. What more can we do to you, please you? What more would you like? If our mantra is that we want to serve you home cooked food, we want to make you feel at home away from home. I would be talking about dishes that they are missing in general. So that is when we gauge what a general point of view towards our current menu selection is. What can we do to improvise? And that's how we innovate with and keeping adding new things in the menu.
Okay. Is Mr. Sheikh there? We have two questions from him from the audience. Mr. Sheikh, are you there? Never mind. What are some tips to maintain a lasting relationship with your customer? Ms. Shweta, would you like to answer that?
I know the question.
Yes. What are some tips to maintain a lasting relationship with your customers?
Lasting relationship with your customer. Obviously, a personal relationship with a customer would always help. Consistency in what he eats should be maintained. The product that he has every time at the restaurant, that has to be consistent. Nothing needs to change. Standardization of product, of course, that helps getting back the customer. Remembering their special dates, their birthdays, their anniversaries. Any dates, like it could be even the first time they entered the restaurant, right? So remembering those dates would always help the customer to come back. Providing information on any new products that you launch, that will help. Sending them rewards on their loyalty will also help. So a personal relationship with a client will always make the client come back.
So do you guys have anything to add to that?
I would like to ask Shweta one question. That do you use any particular application or something to maintain all this?
Yeah, since my backbone is very strong, I
Okay.
Shivalik is there with me. So they have their entire IT team which works for this. So I have more than 10,000 clients database which has numbers and dates and all of that. So I do miss most of them, but my first 1,000 clients, we always try and keep the relationship intact. So entire IT team works on the the database that we have.
Okay.
So yes, IT team needs to work on such a big stature.
Okay. We have two questions from Mr. Shade.
Yeah.
The first is, how did Alfresco move from a restaurant to catering?
So basically, the thing was that the people used to love our food, our quality of the food and service. So eventually, we started catering with 20 people. So the people loved our catering. Then slowly we got to 50 people, then 100 people, then 500 people. So basically, people used to love our food, so we started the catering outlet. And it was a good business. To be frank, catering in the restaurant, it's better catering, cater in catering.
Okay. We have one more question. What is the secret ingredient you use in tuvar totha?
This question would be by me, Petani. So I would tell him that we have a such video on Facebook where he can see the special ingredient and everything which we add. The main ingredient is all just use the fresh product. That's it. No special ingredient or anything. Quality products. That's it.
Okay.
There is no, to be frank, there is no such secret ingredient or something like that. It's just you use fresh product and quality product. Then the food will be amazing. And our love, as you always say, maa ka pyar.
Right. We have another question for you. So this question is from Parsh Shade, and he asks that how did Alfresco achieve a great client response?
Sorry.
How did Alfresco achieve a great client response?
As I as I said before, that the service we used to always cater, going to the client, personally meeting them, giving a good service, quality of the food. That's how we got a good, amazing response.
Okay. The next question is from Harshal Pujara, and he asks that are there any indications that the organic movement would soon be incorporated in the food industry? Any of you can take the question. Parth, would you like to answer that?
So, seeing the current market trend, people are moving to organic foods and vegetables. So, people would want to have, first of all, they would want to know that are you making anything with organic fruits? So, that is the first question that I have to deal with people who are worried about what they're eating, right? So, who have knowledge about organic fruits and vegetables as well. So, people now are like people in Ahmedabad are now gradually moving towards gluten free. They are moving through to veganism, to they're moving to having a proper organic meal that they're having from the restaurant or the cafe. So they do ask that are you using organic mangoes, are you using organic jamun in your menu? So people, they would want to know what you eat, what are they eating, but it is very difficult currently that to get such raw materials in the market, because organic, I personally feel that organic fruits and vegetables is just a myth. And like I have myself grown a lot of fruits and vegetables in my farmhouse, and I think it's a myth, and I don't see any like there's not a huge harvest if you go organic. That is what I think. I'm sorry if it's bad, but yeah,
We can never go organic in Ahmedabad.
Shweta, you muted, Shweta.
Sorry,
Shweta,
I'm
muted.
saying
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm saying that we can never go organic in Ahmedabad, not in the near future, because the market is very price sensitive. So today, when I sell my sandwiches a bit expensive because I use all the fresh products, it gives me a hit. It comes into तुम्हारी sandwich में ऐसा क्या है जो इतना महंगा बेचते हो, right?
Yeah.
So it is very difficult to only 2% of market understand organic food. The rest of the people only understand value towards their money. So people who understand that will always have those things at their home. They will never come out to eat that. It is far fetched from Ahmedabad industry is far fetched from organic, gluten free, veganism. All that is very far fetched because you need that kind of taste on your tongue to understand that flavor of those kind of food. So I don't think so. Organic is coming anytime soon. Even whichever restaurants get it, small size restaurants are okay who just work on these things, but not big stature restaurants because affordability is not there. Restaurants can't afford organic food for sure.
Okay. The next question is from Jay Pandya, and he asked that what is better, a small food vendor, that is a lorry, or a restaurant, and what are the pros and cons of both?
Who wants to answer that?
Preet,
I'll take that.
Yes.
Technically, there's no comparison between a hawker and a restaurant. Both the places can serve you good, hygienic, clean food. Both the places can serve you unhygienic, unhealthy food. So it is up to the owner or it is up to the founder of that particular venture. Their values, what they are willing to serve. So there is nothing wrong with eating something on the street, which is well cooked, which is hygienically made, which has some values there. And something you may go wrong in a very fine restaurant as well. There you may not be served the right ingredients or the fresh ingredients. So there's no line in particular between a hawker and a restaurant. It's all about our love for food and how well you keep that love, bring that love to the customer.
So I have been honestly a part of a lorry in Ahmedabad. My Bombay Street stall was there at Law Garden. So I started my restaurant business in Ahmedabad from there. And in Bombay, I have several smaller joints, not like lorry, but obviously lorry business like hawkers still are not by AMCs. Some are approved, some are not approved, and there are like hell lot of issues with that. So when I started a lorry in Law Garden, I invested in an amount of 5 lakh, which is not small. So today if you want to start up a small restaurant, you increase some lakhs more and you can do a small store, which is then absolutely not touched by AMC or not being harassed by cops or nothing like that. In terms you're legal, you don't have to keep on switching your places. I started with a stall in Law Garden is because it was Law Garden. Then I know that in the evening from 5 o'clock till 11 o'clock in the night there is no stress in business. That's why. So when Law Garden moved out, I stopped that hawker business because it's not peaceful business. I would always suggest to do a store if you want like a you know straight consistent business without any trouble, without any hassle. Even a small store doesn't matter.
Okay, Shweta, we have a question for you from Ashmita, who says that why do you only choose sandwich varieties?
Because the name is I Love Sandwich House, sweetie. So I'll tell you something. When I joined I Love Sandwich House, it wasn't I Love Sandwich House. It was Quitches. So Quitches, the concept behind Quitches was quick sandwiches. So my co-founder always wanted to do a QSR of sandwiches, something on the lines of Subway, but not Subway. But unfortunately, it was lost somewhere and we couldn't do it. So we came up with something like this. So we thought of doing it, but we don't just have sandwiches. I Love Sandwich House is it's a catchy name. It's a catchy name. It has a lot of drama in it. That is why it is like hashtag and I Love Sandwich House. So we are going with the trend, right? So I never approved of that name, but yes, it's good name now. Everybody loves it. So that name, it has a lot of Conti food in terms of it has varieties of salads. It has obviously focuses on sandwiches, But we always believed in go to meal. Like sandwich could be any meal: your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, supper, anything, or midnight snack as well. So that's why sandwiches. But we just don't have sandwiches like that. We have salads, we have tartines, we have burgers now. So everything is there. So it's not that. It's just sandwiches.
Is Pankti there? Uh, we'll move on for now. This next question is from Urvin. He asks that in the coming time, will you be making everything on your menu, or will you prefer sticking to the regular or the most selling ones?
Everywhere, because of Corona now, menus have come down to 50%. We do not have that much of stock because obviously the sale is not great. We all are going through tough times. So we at sandwich houses also come down to 50%, not more menu. So obviously that 50% has come from last 2 years best selling items. So we also sell just 50%. But we do cater to customized orders. Like if a customer says that I want to eat this, can you make it? So we can make it. It's not that. So we're basically saving on the stock. We're saving on our inventory.
Okay. Shet, are you there? The next question is, do you think whether Ahmedabad customers are open to more experimenting when it comes to different cuisines like Lebanese and Thai, or different concepts of pub food, that is dessert bars, or which are coming up in the bigger metros?
No. People are not open to. I took almost 2.5 years uh, to come, to penetrate this new food in the market. I took almost 2.5 years, right? So people are not. Then only the 2% of the crowd, 2 to 5% of the crowd of the city is open to doing new cuisines, going to those new cuisines and tasting them. The rest of them, in fact, including me, I would like Jai Bhavani's vada pav, have more chole, tomatoes, even urban khichdi I eat so much. So basically, we are 80% of the crowd is going to eat this. So yes, slowly, steadily. So I would honestly suggest that whoever has asked this question is a good question. That if they themselves want to move into this kind of product in Ahmedabad, it will need a hell lot of marketing and a hell lot of patience. Granola bars, those energy bars and all that kind of food. No, it 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 will be quite courageous to do it if somebody wants to do it, but it will need hell lot of marketing.
Okay.
They will have to
Punk-
hammer the product and details.
Yes, please go on. I'm so sorry.
No, that's what I'm saying. I personally came up with a new product, right? So it took me a lot of time to, get that in their head. Ask Part, even avocados. How many people do ask for it? Khichdi would be dhoom because people love khichdi, right? So new products are going to be like very
People they
different.
come to me and say like, give me healthy smoothie bowls, give us healthy smoothie bites, smoothie bowls, and they would want a regular subscription of fancy smoothie bowls, which should be budget friendly, right? But again, if you have a organic, like if you have a proper yogurt, if you use proper granola, if you use proper like, good quality fruits, again, budget friendly is again not a good
Very
thing. So
difficult,
we have,
right?
yeah, it's very difficult in the
Budget.
so I think the
I
solution, yeah, Shweta, you're saying something?
no, I also have breakfast smoothie bowls, and
Yeah.
they're like healthy breakfast bowls. Like
Yeah.
still here, people used to think smoothie are in the glasses only. When I
Yes.
started serving smoothie bowls in like bowls, they were like still new to the concept. And smoothie bowls will only have those certain amount of dressings on it, right? Those nibblings like granolas or any fruits or anything like that. So when it comes to like the down level, they would still say कि नीचे तो कुछ भी नहीं है. So what should I put
So
entire granola in it? So it's going to take time
yeah,
for
I would
all of
like to
this.
add
Yeah.
on something. Like when I started, I wanted to use honey. Started using honey for a natural sweetener and stuff like that. I didn't use sugar and everything. So once people like when the people started to come like ये तो फीका है, इसपे कुछ है ही नहीं taste. But I don't know what will have in like what a fruit will have inside it, right? So the solution to the problem is if you are starting something of your own, you should know what people want to have, right? the 5% of them, they wanted to have healthy, they would want to have it without sugar, but the 95% want to have when they are spending, they wanted to have it tasty and maybe your picture friendly or Instagram friendly.
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah. So
I would
that is
still
how it
suggest
is.
whoever
Basically,
wants.
I would like to add, yeah, that we started with the fruit bar, but the thing was that people are still not that health conscious right now. After this COVID, of course, they are health conscious, but before that, people never used to prefer to have a fruit bowl, a healthy fruit bowl. They used to prefer to have a pizza, pasta, or something like that when they go out to eat. They don't prefer to have a fruit bowl. They are like, "Bhai, ghare to khaiye achhe." So that's the reason why people still believe to have something like cheesy or chocolatey when they go out to eat.
My next question is the next question is for Pankti. Uh, Zeel asks, does it really matter if you use compound chocolate or couverture chocolate?
So definitely it does matter. So compound chocolate is a byproduct of the curvature chocolate. When you, example, if you're making a orange juice, the juice you get and the fibers, the stems you get is different, right? So compound chocolate is like a stems of it, and curvature chocolate is purely like a orange juice. So obviously it does matter and makes a big difference in your taste and the texture and the smoothness, everything. So it does matter, definitely.
Hold on. The next question is from Parsh Sheth. He asked that how did you guys survive in the market for so long and manage to make to come up with the goodwill that it has today?
A lot of hard work, bro. Honestly, I have been born and brought up in Bombay. I have my major businesses in Bombay, Dubai, and Goa. Ahmedabad, I have learned a lesson. If you can do business in Ahmedabad, you could survive anywhere in the world. So it did take a lot of efforts because the market is very new. So every authentic product has a side of Ahmedabad. Got it? Like every authentic product will be changed to Ahmedabad flavors to suit their local palates, including my sandwiches. Like if you say my sandwiches, we have a Brooklyn Fare sandwich, which is a classic from America. It is a classic American sandwich, but still I had to change it a little bit to give a local palate. So customers are very rigid here. They know what they want. They know how they want. They would come out to a restaurant and say that, अच्छा मेरे को ये आपका प्रोडक्ट चाहिए पर उसमें ये चेंज करके चाहिए, like XYZ changes I want. So ideally when we go out to understand and to enjoy the flavor a chef gives, right, in a restaurant, but here everything changes according to them. So survival is difficult only if you're strong headed, only if you're passionate about your food and never gonna give up, then go into this business. And the Bhat is a difficult market.
This question is also for Pankti. People want to know the name behind Broadway Bakeries. Why did you name it Broadway? Is there a specific reason?
Yes, so I did my professional pastry arts from International Culinary Center, and it's located on the Broadway Street in New York. So that's the reason I came up with the idea of keeping it the Broadway Bakery.
Did you get a chance to go to Broadway? I'm just wondering. I'm very fascinated by Broadway.
I was I went to see the Broadway show as well. Yes, definitely. You cannot miss that.
Uh, the next question is also from Parsh. He says, do you have any ideas or jugaad for staying in market? Or do you have any suggestions for that?
Definitely keep experimenting, keep trying new things. Like example, Raksha Bandhan is coming, and I'm like, Gujarati people like their traditional sweet for Rakhi, right? So I'm coming up with new idea of having a traditional macaroons. Everyone would have tried French macaroons, but those would be like coffee flavor, or maybe you have amaretto, or maybe mango. But I would like to go a little traditional, so I'm gonna do this gajar ka halwa macaroons, or pan macaroons, something like that, to just give it a Indian taste.
Do you take orders right now?
Sorry.
Bhakti, do you take orders right now? Pre-orders? That is what we all are working on now.
Now I'm gonna send it to all of you to do a tasting trial. Okay, be a critic.
Sure.
We also started Varak, the traditional sweet, with the market changing and the situation changing. We started Varak traditional sweets, which are homemade basically. So we closed down our restaurant before COVID, and there is no scope of catering right now. So we came up with a new brand. So in food business, you have to completely come up with a new idea, new item within a rotation of 6 months. People are getting bored of a single item. Like a customer coming down at my place for having a phota kulcha would come down again after 6 months, and he was like, "Ke bhaiya kuch naya khilao." So after 6 months, we have to change the entire menu and bring new items in the menu. Yes, so I would like to add this.
There's something I think all of us missed here, which I said initially. Like I said, there are no jugards to survive in the market ever. It's lot and lot of hard work and sweat. Trust me. Like I said,
True.
first you need a lot of patience. Like then Shweta said that every city, let's say Ahmedabad for that matter, right? Ahmedabad has its side of its peculiar taste. So you need to hear out to your consumers. You need to be in touch with your consumers. You need to continuously keep evolving according to what the market needs. That is how you sustain. That is how you survive. Trust me, when you try Jugaad, you would be out the next day. Be out the
Okay, the next question is from Chinmay Thakkar. He asked, what innovative steps would you like to take to make the customers feel more safe and secure whenever they come visit you?
It's the usual, what everybody is following right now.
Exactly. I mean, innovate that what government is laid down is very much clear. There is it's a no-brainer. It doesn't need any innovation. They are very strict. They are very rigid. They
Yeah.
do visit our premises very on a very routine manner, and they are very strict about it. So it
Their
doesn't need
their
innovation.
checklist is
It just
also
needs
very
you just
strong.
need to follow. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is from Ankit Dubey. He's asking, what kind of challenges do you guys face while dealing with the delivery partners like Swiggy and Zomato?
No, we should not. We should not say anything. They
We
are
should,
giving us
we
business
should
right
not say anything. Yeah.
Is it
That's
something
the
on?
answer.
I don't understand.
Okay, so imagine
उनकी नस पे हाथ रख दिया आपने.
this is a
Discuss
pen.
on
Okay,
record.
this is a pen that you have to sell, and Zomato is taking 25% of the commission, and they're asking for this to sell on their portal. You have to give an additional 25% discount. Then only it will be selling in the market. So we are losing the 25% of the commission, and then we are also giving them a 25% discount just to say that, okay, this is what is happening. And again, as they have a lot of restaurants in their portal, we have to pay them ad space for the ad space. So we pay them for the ad space to get our restaurant above everyone else, and that is again 25% of the product cost. So at the end of the day, we are just getting 25%, which is less than the raw material cost. So if we are not, yeah, if you are not, if you are into Zomato and Swiggy, if you are into online portal, so you have to play very smart, and you have to play with the costing of it, and it should be perfect. Like there should not be any margin of error that should be there around. So that is very difficult in the current set. I was also reading through one of the articles of Australia. Uber in Australia, like Uber Eats in India, has closed down, but Uber in Australia, they are charging 40% commission from the restaurants. Imagine that. And again, they have to give discounts. So I'm just wondering that how can we make money out of it? Or it's just that Zomato and Swiggy and the other platforms are making money through us. So that is my thing. So you have to play very smart when we are doing online, like when we are dealing with online platforms for deliveries.
So before COVID-19, there were a lot of issues in terms of with Zomato, Swiggy. All the restaurants had come together to solve the problem of this commission percentage. But at the end of the day, the volume of business that they give, like right now, I even have my online portal from where I can send the food. I'll deliver it. It'll come from the restaurant. But a very few people go on the website and order. So Zomato, Swiggy. Yes, we do have issues in terms of the fee payment and all of that, but at the end of the day, they are the market leaders as well. So there is nothing that we can do about it. But yes, there was this time that, in fact, when all the restaurants came into protesting against their fees, we didn't go protest. We were opportunists. we took a lot of business from other restaurants that time. But yes, see, till the time the new portal doesn't come in, somebody who can beat them, there is no point protesting. At the end of the day, you're getting more business, right?
I think Jio should come in the market soon.
है ना? मेरे को भी लग रहा है. Very soon, very soon. They are working on something that I know, but I
Amazon
wasn't sure
also
how.
has, in Chandkera, they have started something for deliveries, but I think they have closed it down. But Amazon has started.
Bangalore, they have already started. Amazon is operational.
So basically, Zomato has, hammered everybody. Like a small kid would also say, "Mama, order from Zomato." So that's how they're very powerful when it comes to all of this.
But again, Preet rightly said that in Ahmedabad, with the youth that is coming from the different parts of the cities like Rajkot, Surat, Surendranagar, and stuff, cities like that, people would have to eat outside. People would have to order from Zomato for their meal. So again, we have to, for example, if seeing my sales, I'm doing 50% of sales through online platform only. So online platforms, they are helping us some way, but they are also churning out the money from us. So we have to be very smart when doing online deliveries.
We call them mafias.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the point that I had a discussion with my account manager is that everybody's on the same page. If Hilton is serving something, if I am serving something, or if they are signing everybody, but the consumer sitting on the app is not aware where the food is coming from. There should be some differentiation. There should be some classification. Like even hotels have a star rating. Even restaurants have some kind of ratings, or you classify them into different parts. So these aggregators do not have any classification for their partners, that is us. So a consumer who is using his or her app cannot differentiate from where the food is coming, what food is coming, who is cooking the food, especially when the cloud kitchens are kicking in. The parity or the strictness is not same for everybody.
Okay, the next question is from Venkat, and he's asking, how are you all arriving at the pricing strategy giving when you give these discounts?
We simply make losses.
So the basic rule of restaurant pricing is you have to multiply by 3 with the raw material. I think that's right, Preet. You multiply it by 3,
More or less,
that's how you set the price with the raw material. So with the advent of these people, we have to increase the multiplier factor. Maybe 3.5 is a good multiplying factor that one should use now to set up a fixed strategy for pricing.
But Parth, you might be misunderstood that restaurants itna paisa kamate. No, that's not the fact. Restaurants
मैं
have
भी वही
to
सोच रही थी, कहाँ से इतना कमाते तो कहाँ जाते हम लोग.
Exactly. So restaurants have to have prime real estate. They would be paying highest of the rentals across any other segment in the market. Restaurants would always be overstaffed because some of the other staff is on leave or are taking care of their weekly jobs. You never know when the rush comes in. So, in terms of wages, in terms of rentals, in terms of electrical consumption, in terms of gas consumptions, these all are not included in the multiplier that Parth just mentioned. So, after all that, I don't think any multiplier is right now left for the restaurateurs.
Yeah.
our
Venkat,
landing cost our landing cost is so much that इतना multiply करने के बाद customer आएगा ही नहीं दरवाजे पे. They will like, "Rent though, I don't want to eat here."
on a second note, Venkat says he's really sorry to answer that to ask that hurtful question.
It did ache our paining nerves anyway.
Okay, the next question is for Pankti. So the lockdown has made almost everyone a home baker. So do you really think that it's a threat or an opportunity, or does that really matter?
Not really, because for that you need to know the difference between the quality of the product, what you are making. You just see a online recipe of brownie and you try to make it and it comes out good. That doesn't mean it's going to be a hit for every time. You have to do trial and error. You have to make people try like how it tastes to, if it tastes really nice to me but it's not going to taste really nice to everyone. So it's always trial and error. You have to do so many good, you have to get the good quality products and everything. So yeah, I don't think so, it's not a threat at all. But if everyone is doing good with their new baking profession, then it's amazing, good to know.
Pankti, what is the secret behind making a gooey brownie? I am just failing to make it every time.
Don't.
What?
Anyway, there are too many bakers around.
I swear there is like so many
Don't-
bakers and still some of them don't know what is curvature chocolate, what is the compound, how the cocoa, what is the difference between cocoa butter and butter. So I don't know how it is working nowadays.
Most of my friends who used to come to me to eat food have started cooking themselves. In the lockdown, I had posted some 70 recipes. That was a very kind gesture from me, to contribute towards the pandemic. कि बीवियों को घर पे सोचना ना पड़े क्या बनाना है. So most of them have started selling those
I
70 recipes of mine. And I was like, "Arey, you want to make this for your husband? Where are you selling it?" So they're like, "No, we thought we are making it well, so might as well sell it." But we are not worried because these people are not going to be consistent. They can't take care of, they can't do this. You need lot of power to survive in Ahmedabad.
As someone who's been living outside their home for 5 years, I can definitely attest to that fact.
Huh?
Yes. But one thing that I would like to add is that I've never missed ghar ka khana here. Every time I go out, I am always able to find something that just hits the right spot. I have never been complaining about food here. I think it's thanks to people like you, definitely. Thank you so much for doing what you guys do.
Thank you. We are very gracious. Don't stress.
definitely.
Okay, we have one more question from Anshuman. He asked, how do you guys manage to ship products through courier services? Because the general public, the courier charges are very huge.
What would be courier part?
I think this
Again,
question would
he
be
meant
for
to.
Pankti. Yeah.
We have Zomato and Swiggy to take care of our courier needs.
I know. Why should we
Yeah,
manage?
People are asking
Courier
for
service.
packaging. So that's the reason. That's what he meant. That's what I feel. The packing charges.
Okay, so are you guys looking to the whole sanitization issue in your wherever you're cooking? Something about that.
I try to do it by myself. Like if it's a load, I still try to do it by myself. I'm not calling for any help as of now because I don't know where they're gonna touch, where they have been. So I want to keep it very safe. I try to sanitize all the utensils in the sunlight for 2 to 3 hours. and I use the hygiene spray when I give them. I try to wrap it in a plastic wrap. The box will be also wrapped in a plastic wrap, so if someone touches it, still you can sanitize it. That way I try in this pandemic though.
In restaurants, sanitization is a big process now. So when veggies come, till the final product goes out, there is a lot of processing that happens. Anyway, it's not proven yet that virus spreads with food. So when there is a particular degree of food that we heat it to, I don't think so it does. But yes, washing the veggies, keeping men you know away from it, like as many you can. So obviously, if you enter a restaurant right now, you'll feel like you've entered a hospital. Everybody's with a mask and shield and those blue things and all of that. So it is like that, but you got to be careful. But there can always be a human error anywhere. But everybody right now is following the process. I think most of the restaurants have not even started, because a lot of restaurants do not want to go through such a heavy process. But yes, sanitization is a part of life now, I think. In fact, a normal person like me will go and sanitize her hands like 10 times in an hour. So it's got into everybody now.
Okay, this next question is from Urvin, who asks that why do you guys not start commissioning delivery people? For example, when you have 4 or 5 people who you can uh, start giving them commissions in exchange for their delivery services.
So,
Everything is tried and
yeah, I think it's
sorry,
tried and
Parth, you go
tested.
ahead. I'll
Yeah. So there were people, like there were agencies, there were companies like this before the advent of Zomato and Swiggy, and people they used to charge just a 5 or 7% commission for one delivery that they used to do for us. So, and there are still people around. So, for example, Swiggy has made a different thing, like has brought a different thing in the market known as Swiggy Genie. So something like that was available. Like people, there were small companies who had 3 4 delivery people. They used to come and they said, okay, fine, I'll give you one delivery guy per day, and you have to give him 300 rupees a day, irrespective of how many orders you do. So there were different models and different things that had come before Swiggy, Zomato also, but I think they failed, and it's just the Zomato and Swiggy that we have to take, like, be with right now.
And
Yes.
now people are also used to Zomato and Swiggy. They are just application. Now they don't have our direct number. Even through Zomato, you won't find our direct number. So you will be calling at their link, hyperlink, and you will get we will get a call. So there is no option of getting a direct clientele through it. So we need Zomato, Swiggy, and Uber for the same.
see. Basically, we are
Also,
getting a set
sorry.
clientele. No, so
Yeah.
many restaurants are there on Zomato. We're getting a set clientele. We don't have to go and pitch in our services or our food. So might as well. We have, like I said, that Urvin, we do have our online website. We even have our app, but the number of orders I get in that are barely 4 to 5. Zomato, Swiggy gives me 25 to 30 orders every day. Why would I not take up that? So it's there, but
Can I
obviously, people would like
classic
to
example
go.
for the same? Sorry, go ahead.
No, Preet, you go ahead, please.
Classic example for the same would be like these big chains, Subway, Domino's, McDonald's, have been here before Zomato and Swiggy kicked in. They had their own apps, they had their own logistics team. They never initially came on board with Zomato and Swiggy. You couldn't see their listings initially, but these aggregators have marketed themselves so well. They have addicted people to themselves so well that even stalwarts like Domino's, Subway have to now be on their app and also offer discounts and pay out the commissions.
Okay, as we're nearing the end of the session, uh, what would you like to advise to someone who wants to start in the food and beverage industry?
Okay, I'm talking. Alright. So basically, you need to be very strong. You need to be very much confident about the product you're launching, because uh, and because chances of failing are more than chances of successing. That is what I would like to say, because if you want to start in this particular city, uh, you got to be price sensitive, your product needs to be fine, you got to be thorough with the product. Basically everything just depends on the product. So if your product is good, and if you then comes marketing, if you've marketed it well, then you're the king of the market. But still, like, people like us are also still in process to reach somewhere. There are like bigger elephants, like there are white elephants like tomatoes, and have more, and these big giants. So still people would love to spend their money on them rather than coming to you. So you got to be very strong about your USP, what you're offering. And at the same time, you got to be gracious, because you're in food industry. So you can't get defensive if the product is criticized. So yes, that those are the ways to start. You need to have a good financial backing as well. You can't just start like that, because then chances of closing are more than running it.
So I see.
Ahmedabad.
I can say that never take a loan if you want to start a own restaurant. If you have your money, you should. Yeah. Never, I think you should never take a loan if you want to start a restaurant or a cafe.
Ahmedabad is a very
You should never.
market.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I said Ahmedabad is a very sentimental market. Like, there are times like when
Yeah.
there is festivals like Shravan and Paryushan, uh, we see a lot of downfall. I mean, something that you don't see in Bombay, because there are a lot of people who live there. Here, almost 20% of your business is wiped out in those seasons. So you got to be strong, financially strong, to start up your venture.
You also have to ensure that you never stop learning. Be very keen on what your consumers say. Don't just hear them, but listen to them and try to absorb as much as you can. That really helps to get the local nerve of the city, the local nerve of the people whom you are serving, basically your customers, people from whom you are planning to earn your money.
Pankti and Mr. Shade, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
maintain the quality of the product that you always give. Never never reduce the quality of the product. Always try to understand what people like around you guys. It depends on the taste of the people. Try to customize according to their taste buds. Also, don't go over big from the starting. Start with a smaller business and then grow your business. How depending on the time, like how it goes after a month or
Can I say?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Firstly, I would say don't jump in the food industry for the coming 6 months. And the first thing you must see that you are going to survive or not. First advice is that do your 100% homework. And if you think that you will survive, then jump into this business, because I don't think so. If a person entering right now would survive more than a year.
I think that you said correctly, Preet, that it is very difficult. But why we are here to motivate people who want to start their own restaurants and cafes. So I think if they at least they have a perfect business plan, they have a perfect business model, and if they know, okay, they are confident about what they want to do it in life currently. So if they have something new product, and if it runs well, then maybe the pandemic also would not be in their way. So it depends on the business model that they have, and they should, like, people should try from from the root level. So Preet had said that we called up families for tasting and everything. So that is what one should do, at least make whatever they want to, or at least whatever they are going to sell, at least give a trial, give a tasting to their friends and loved ones. And that is how they should
As
start in the next 3 4 months. And then once everything settles down, that is how they should implement their ideas and projects and whatever they have in their head.
as I say, do your homework, then you enter. Because I don't think so right now. If you come up with an aggressive and different product, then you would be able to survive. yes, coming up with a common item or common product won't help him survive. So coming up with a innovative idea would help him.
Okay, this is probably my last question, and it's from me. So usually, people say that parents don't have favorites, but I think we know that it's not true. So if you had to choose one dish from all of your menu, and you would want your customers to try it, what would that be? I want to know that.
Um,
Hands down, has to be one of the khichdi's for me. So I would vote for our Hare Pyaz Ki Lehsuni khichdi. So it is one of my favorites. There's a lot of garlicky feel to it. So yeah.
I would say my no bake chocolate cake is nowadays very famous. I've made like 10 of them in last 1 week. So yeah, definitely this no bake chocolate cake, Belgian chocolate cake will go for me.
So basically, I'm very fond of my children. So there are two favorites. I have my pesto paneer panini. Then I have my paneer masala toast sandwich. So and third one, we've just introduced the burger, which is like my current favorite. So yes, I have three.
So we came up with jamun shots, which was again like I never thought that jamun shots would be so famous in no time. And I personally, it's not my favorite personally, but yeah, people of Ahmedabad, they love their shots. So I think the jamun shots and the falsa shots currently are the crowd favorite, and as well as like people love it and they would want to make it at their home also. And so we have had a lot of people who wanted to have our jamun and falsa, and we used to sell it. So we are still selling it. So yeah, people make it at their home also if they don't want to come up to any of our outlets.
As per our weather right now, I miss my dal vada waffles. I must say that was a running item, and as per the weather right now, I'm missing it a lot.
I miss it too.
Yeah, and even Tota Kulcha, the hot running item. This is the both item which I miss a lot.
Okay, is there anything else you guys would like to talk about as we end this session?
I would like to thank you for having us. We are still tiny people from this market. So thank you for having us and giving us a platform to talk about our hurdles and our success in making. So yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thank
here.
you so much. Yep.
It was definitely such a pleasure talking to all of you. I hope you had a pleasant evening. Uh, I I really wish all the best to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Prithvi, we
much.
are hosting you soon.
Thank you so
Come to the
much.
restaurant whenever you're here.
Yep.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks.
See you
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.
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 Bye. Thank you.
So that's a wrap, guys. In the end, I would just like to tell you all that JUSEC is organizing a special session on mental health in the coming week, which is on July 17th, 2020. And we have Dr. Prashant Bhimani, who will be addressing mental health awareness. Dr. Bhimani is an established psychologist in Ahmedabad, and he's been practicing since 1992. I would really request you all to check out our event, and uh, I would definitely request you guys to check this out and just register if you're interested. Thank you so much for being here. You've been a great audience. Please have a pleasant evening and a good night. Thank you.